spoilers? Oh, lots and lots of spoilers.
Welcome to our final entry, the final entry, of our Pixar Pix. We've seen Pixar set up fascinating worlds where they pose searching, intriguing, and challenging questions like, what if your toys were actually sentient and silently judging you all the time? What if the monster in your closet was just an average Joe trying to make a living? What if the human race mutated into a nightmarish organic machine hybrid species that appeared as self-aware motor vehicles and, oh God!
Calm down.
What do they look like on the inside? Never let us see what's inside Lightning McQueen.
It's not real, Max. Take a deep breath.
Not real. I'm okay. Sorry. However, in 2015's The Good Dinosaur, we're faced with a truly intriguing speculative narrative. What if dinosaurs never went extinct? What if they evolved alongside humans, developing intelligence and consciousness? What sort of technologies would they develop? How strange and unusual would be their social structure?
Oh, is that what that was? Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but...
Would they develop a rudimentary set of spiritual values? Would their connection to the humans be symbiotic or antagonistic? So many fascinating questions. And how many of these are answered? Spoiler alert, Bupkis!
You just wanted to say Bupkis.
I wanted to say Bupkis. Really, we might as well be dealing with Grumpy Alice and Chaka in this.
Now. We haven't even got to the trivia, so...
Right. Yeah, we'll go into more detail. But first, I am your host, Tyrannosaurus Max. And over there, desperately trying to evolve a thumb, is Australopithecus microconus.
I just thought if I pulled real hard, it would come out.
I'm sure it will. You keep following that dream, son.
I got one. Oh, damn.
Mike, I think that's your nose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Hands.
Yes. Yep. The fingy things at the end of your arms. So, yes, trivia.
The show.
Okay, budget. Oh, boy. $200 million.
They spent it on the grass.
Yeah. The worldwide gross, $322 million. Yeah. This was, to date, the second lowest grossing Pixar movie ever released domestically or worldwide. Do you know what number one was? And I think this is unfair.
I'm trying
give you
to
a hint.
guess.
It was recent.
It's going to be the one that they just oh no, because that's not a Pixar film. That's a Disney film. Onward?
Yeah. Onward is the lowest grossing Pixar movie, which I think is an unfair judgment because it was released like the month COVID was released.
That's what it was, because you had to buy that online.
That by the way, that was a play on words. I'm not buying into any of the theories that it was intentionally released, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Just to get this out of the way, yes, the stupid Pizza Planet truck shows up.
God.
Did you see it?
No.
I didn't know this except from reading it in the trivia, because fortunately it's almost impossible to tell. In the opening shot, one of the asteroids looks like it.
Okay.
Yeah, talk about really trying to shoehorn that sucker in.
I mean, I'd rather they did that than there was a dinosaur shaped like a Pizza Planet truck or something.
Or some sort of like Flintstones Pizza Planet truck made of stone with rock wheels or something. This was also the first time Pixar released two films in 1 year, which is another thing that did not do this film any favors because the other film was Inside Out.
Oh, by far inferior
talk about
film.
Suffering by comparison. This film had a lot of production issues. It was in production for 6 years. There were creative differences, story problems, Pixar multitasking between other films, and kind of a quality slump that the studio suffered, starting with Cars 2 in 2011 and Monsters University in 2013, both of which we have discussed.
Gee, none of those things actually, I couldn't feel a thing like that in the film, could you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Lying
dinosaur. The original cast was supposed to include John Lithgow, Judy Greer, Bill Hader, Neil Patrick Harris, and Lucas Neff.
What, John Lithgow because he was on Third Rock from the Sun?
I guess. I think he was going to be Paw.
Oh, I wish he had.
But they were replaced after one of the many major story changes. The only cast member who stayed on was Frances McDormand. She was Mama.
Boy, they really used her to her potential. She was really okay.
Also, originally, Arlo was supposed to be older, the human equivalent of like 17 and voiced by Lucas Neff, but the director, Peter Sohn, wanted to convey the idea of Arlo maturing, as well as give more of a boy and his dog relationship between Arlo and Spot, and made him younger, basically about 11 years old, whatever that is in Apatosaurus years. This is one of John Ratzenberger is in this movie, but it's one of his smallest roles up there with Brave. He has one line. Did you recognize him?
No. There might have been a reason for that.
He was one of the hillbilly raptors. Oh. And he just says, "We kill him."
Okay.
That's his. He gets 3 words. According to the original film director Bob Peterson.
Uh-oh.
You still want his work number? It's Mr. Peterson. The inspiration for this film came from his impression of dinosaur animatronics he saw on a childhood visit to the 1964 New York's World's Fair.
Well, that World's Fair is a lot to answer for.
Yeah, it does. This should come as no shock. This is the 3rd Pixar movie not to get nominated for Best Animated Feature.
It wasn't?
Yeah, I know. Do you need a minute?
Shocking, yeah.
Shocking
terror.
Yeah. The other 2, of course, were, as we said, Cars 2 and Monsters University.
Yeah.
Some of the CGI landscapes were so convincingly realistic that some of the audience wondered if this was a real-world CGI composite. Some people saw this movie and felt an odd sense of déjà vu. Because there's more than a little similarity between Arlo and Littlefoot in Don Bluth's 1988 The Land Before Time.
Oh.
Littlefoot, which I admittedly have never seen, but he's also an Apatosaurus. Both characters hatch at the beginning. Both have major responsibilities. Both have parents who help them out. Both lose a parent. And even both of them end up falling in a river.
Yeah, we're going to get to that part too.
Yeah. The sequence, which really stood out for me and is I think a little troubling, where Arlo and Spot eat fermented fruit and start hallucinating.
Yeah.
This is the first chemically based hallucination scene in a Disney movie since I bet you know. Do you know when it was the last and probably the only?
Fantasia?
Nope.
I don't know.
Think pink elephants.
Oh, yeah, because that's Dumbo, isn't it? Is it Dumbo?
Yes, Dumbo.
I've never seen Dumbo.
Oh, you never have?
Wow. I do know the song Pink Elephants on Parade, but
yeah,
no, it always looked too damn sad. It's like nothing happy's going to happen in this movie. I'm not watching it.
There are a couple of some of it, it's very sad. It's also one of the more, shall we say, problematic ones when you deal with the crows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of whose name actually is Jim.
Okay.
Yeah. Sam Elliott is in this as Butch the Tyrannosaurus, and his line I can't do it justice because my mustache isn't thick enough. But I'm sorry. I am sorry. Sam Elliott has the greatest mustache in the history of mustaches. In the morning, we ride. That's a little nod to his character, Carter Slade, from the classic Ghost Rider, which Nick Cage, he accompanies Johnny Blaze on One Last Ride.
God.
Yeah, it's the exact same line.
Is that the one where he pisses fire, or is that the later one?
That's the second one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic with a K.
Oh, yeah. And one of the faces that Arlo sort of shifts into resemble during the drunk sequence or stone sequence has a strong resemblance to Scott Squishy Squibbles from Monsters University. There's a reason for this. The voice of Squishy was Peter Sohn, the director of this movie.
Ah.
He also is the voice of the creepy, whatever the hell he is, kind of Triceratops collector hoarder thing.
Yeah, we're going to get to that too.
Yeah, we definitely are. There's a lot of other trivia about this movie, but most of it's just not that interesting. It's all about numbers, like this is the third to do this, and here are the people who are considered.
This is the aspect ratio, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
there's not a lot to say.
That's okay.
So the plot, which is surprisingly convoluted. Picture the Earth about 65 million years ago. Dinosaurs are the dominant species doomed to be wiped out by the KT Extinction Asteroid striking the Earth. But what if the asteroid had missed Earth? It could happen. Space is really big and stuff.
And dark. And it's hard to find a place to park.
It is indeed very hard to find a place to park. This movie offers us a world where dinosaurs never died out and after millions of years developed sentience and intelligence, but still looked pretty much the same. We follow the life of a young Apatosaurus named Arlo, so named, no doubt, because of dinosaurs' well-known love of folk music. All I could think is, how do they know Arlo Guthrie? Arlo lives on a farm with his mama, papa, brother, and sister. Smaller, weaker, and more fearful than the others, Arlo often thinks himself a burden, which he is, who needs to be protected by his parents, which he does. His world is shattered by the death of his father and his later accidental separation from his family when he falls into a river chasing after that most dangerous of vermin, man!
Dun, dun, dun.
Or rather, boy!
Kinda.
Because Arlo meets a small, nonverbal human, Homo sapien, Homo erectus, it's not clear.
Just say homo and get over it.
Whom Arlo blames for the death of his father. Ending up as unlikely traveling companions, dare I say wacky traveling companions.
Oh, hijinks.
Arlo eventually bonds with the boy, naming him Spot. Get it? Like a dog. He's his pet. Together they face trials and tribulations in an effort to get safely back to Arlo's family farm. On the way they meet mentally unbalanced hoarder dinosaurs, religious cultist dinosaurs, and cowboy dinosaurs?
Sure.
As Arlo finds the strength to face his fear and become what he was always meant to be.
The spirit of Christmas?
A plant-eating dinosaur farmer, just like Harry Potter.
Dinochlorians?
Yup. You're a dinosaur, Harry. So, that's pretty much the plot. Really, it's the, I don't know, any of those Journey of Natty Gann, Fantastic Journey, Dances with Porcupines, I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll start the discussion.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
The lowdown. So, I'm glad you told me about the meteor missing the planet and that dinosaurs didn't go extinct as being the plot, because I didn't get that from watching. I just thought, oh, this is a precursor of something to come. You guys are in trouble. And then there's that shot of the dinosaurs all looking up at the sky, and it's like, you've been watching Fantasia recently, haven't you?
Yeah, it's right out of that shot of all the dinosaurs from, I forget the name of the musical number.
The Rite of Spring.
Thank you.
It's
where they all look up and
it's even the same species. Like, I'm sure it's exactly, and they did it on purpose, and that's fine. It's their own property; they can do that. But it never occurred because I didn't know anything about this movie. I knew it had a dinosaur in it. That's all I knew. And as soon as the kid shows up, I wrote in big capital letters with 3 exclamation points: "No humans and dinosaurs! Stop it!"
Well, it's the idea of parallel evolution.
I'm going to have to go with, if humans started to show up, they'd have just been eaten.
That's kind of what I thought. I mean, around the dinosaur time, humans were basically these little rodents running around among the rocks.
That looked like something that Alan Tudyk would voice.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's still I know the order in which this comes up, it may not be appropriate, but it immediately brings up one of the big story holes in this movie, and I bring this up at the start because it bothered me right from the beginning.
Okay.
It's been millions of years, and A, the dinosaurs don't look any different than we speculate they look now, and B, all that evolved was their language centers. They got smart, and they developed language.
And farms!
Yeah, how did they have no manipulatory appendages?
I don't know.
No tentacles, no fingers. They use their mouths and they can build a barn?
Well, I'm going to have to say it's probably Cars syndrome, right? Because in that whole world of the Cars movie, when we talked about Cars 2, we're all like, why is nothing in here look like it was designed by the beings that actually use it? And this is pretty much the same. Oh, we'll just have fences and silos and other farm equipment, but it'll be human-based, even though there aren't any, or at least we don't think there are.
To be fair, we don't see any actual equipment. They're clearly doing all their farming by brute muscle, which explains why their farm is one field.
Okay.
As far as we can see, and one storage unit. But again, there is so much that doesn't make sense here, and so much they could have. I object to this more than I do in Cars, because Cars it's much more cartoony. It's much sillier. It's clearly we're not supposed to be that interested in the world. This starts. We're not. We're supposed to just accept it.
All of the guys who are working on background in Syria are like, we need to design this so nobody pays attention to it. That's what we need to do.
No, we need to design this so nobody thinks about it too much. Whereas in this, that's what we're supposed to be thinking about. They have shown us, oh, look at that, the Extinction Asteroid didn't hit the Earth.
Okay.
They're still around after it, because it says, we get a title card that says millions of years later, saying we see the dinosaurs at their peak, and now they evolve. They've gone on for millions of years.
Farming.
Are they suggesting... Now, I thought maybe they're raising an interesting point. Is the idea that the dinosaurs were already physically at their peak evolution? That because they were the dominant species, they didn't need to evolve physically? That's why they all look the same? I don't know. They never mention it. They do nothing with it. Nothing.
No. And, of course, are we supposed to look at Spot and the other humans we vaguely see, not too much of, and go, yeah, it'll be fun when those guys start eating these guys.
Spot is problematic as well, because you notice the way they draw him, he doesn't have a sloping forehead. He's not. It's true, he doesn't. Neither do the other humans, so they're not Neanderthals.
I don't know, just what an odd thing. It's like, that slope, nope, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it means he has frontal lobes. It means these guys are Homo sapien.
He keeps saying homo, and
they have not developed language. How is it the dinosaurs have developed language and the humans haven't?
All right, well, so let's skip ahead into one of my notes. So my note for this was, what's with the Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra moment? Because that's what's going on, right? So
little bit.
Because it's like, we don't speak the same language, but look, we speak the same language. And to me, that's one of the things that makes Spot problematic, because he's supposed to come off as unintelligent, right?
Yeah,
because
like
Arlo
a dog.
can talk. Yeah, because Arlo can talk and Spot can't. And for all we know, later on in the film, the reason Spot can't talk has everything to do with the fact that he lost his parents at a very young age, and nothing to do with the fact that this is early humans. We don't know.
Yeah.
Because the other ones don't either. But Arlo starts to talk to him and starts drawing things in the ground, and Spot basically instantly mirrors it and gives him his life story.
Yeah, this creature who is supposed to be non-sentient understands symbology.
Yeah, which is, I think, a little higher up on the chain.
And he doesn't just parrot it. He modifies it to tell his story. It's when Arlo is using sticks to represent his family and a circle around it, and Spot goes, oh, I get it, and he doesn't put the same number of sticks that Arlo does. Arlo puts 5 for his whole family. Spot puts 3, his parents and him, and then he buries 2 of them,
right,
signifying his parents are dead. So not only is this symbolic representation, it's symbolic manipulation, which is one of the definitions of sentience, as much as there are any. Right. This doesn't make that, and then he scratches himself like a dog and howls and lets his tongue hang out.
Right, and the other problem is that whenever Arlo asks him for things, Spot goes off, and it looks like he's wandering off aimlessly, but it turns out that he's actually doing exactly what Arlo wants him to do.
Arlo is pinned at one point, and Spot is trying, for reasons passing understanding, to feed him. At first he brings him a lizard. Arlo doesn't eat it. And then he brings him an enormous insect, and Arlo won't eat it. And then he brings him a branch of fruit.
Right.
So he's like, okay, protein didn't work. I'll try vegetable matter.
Right. Well, my favorite part is when Arlo gets his leg stuck under the rock and he can't pull it out. I really wanted it to fade to black and then just say 127 hours later.
Oh, God! And then have Arlo limping along on 3 legs.
Well, it would have been more realistic.
No, it wouldn't. He's a plant eater. His teeth wouldn't have been sharp enough to chew through his own leg.
And so, okay, you said that this resembled the last or whatever, the littlest dinosaur, whatever the heck the Don Bluth thing was.
Yeah.
To me, we've got this scenery, which, as you point out, looks amazing. Like
visually, it's beautiful.
Yeah, the water and the scenery have come a long way. And then they show you a dinosaur, and I'm like, what? What is this weird... It looks like we're entered an Aardman film.
Yeah, either that or I keep seeing the dinosaurs and I keep thinking, someday maybe Fred will win the fight and that cat will stay out for the night.
Yeah, they just don't... They're like too cartoony. To me, they don't fit the background really at all. Especially their eyes. Their eyes just seemed really plasticky to me. Like no thought was put into them. There's way too much for the whites, and they are white. I don't know. It's just that the characters did not... I didn't think the characters were particularly interestingly drawn or rendered either. They were just sort of like big and thick and... I don't know.
Meaty.
Yeah, just not appealing. And like I'm looking at the grass and the sky and water, which is notoriously hard to do, and water plays a big part in this film. And that stuff's all rendered amazingly well.
Oh yeah.
Especially when we get that really sad moment where Mufasa falls off the cliff.
Yeah, I have that written here too. Yeah.
You thought the exact same thing?
I did, because Arlo's father falls in the river and dies, which is really dark, and we have not seen something like that since The Lion King, I think.
And then, of course, we get to see it again, just like we did in The Lion King.
Yeah, and again, Dad's spirit appears to him.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I have to say, all through this, all I kept thinking, do you remember the old comic strip BC?
Sure. Johnny Hart,
Cavemen. Yep. There's a segment in there. There was this running gag where BC kept seeing clams doing things clams shouldn't be able to do. Like at one point he sees they're walking and clams got legs!
Yep, clams got feet.
Yep, clams got... One's talking about how he can't stop eating grapes. Clams got livers! And all I'm thinking this is, dinosaurs got spirituality! Dinosaurs have ghosts!
Yeah, that sequence. But I'm trying to sort of keep us in a direction, because that's a very valid thing. But for me, the characters, like, they lost me at the characters in a way.
The characterization, it's trying to be, they're trying to make them anthropomorphic enough, so they're trying to be humanoid. That's why they give them the expressions they do and the voice, and but it doesn't really work. It, as you say, it looks wrong.
Yeah, just like there's actually a comics theory about this, how you can have highly rendered realistic backgrounds and much more cartoony characters, and what it does is it allows the reader to more easily put themselves in the place of the main character of the comic. The problem is if you take that too far, and the disparity between realism and cartooniness is just way opposite ends of the scale, I think it just looks like, why do these things don't go together? And that's sort of where I was. The other thing I thought was interesting is that this film decided to reinvent the telegraph, because every single plot point...
Yeah. It's like, hey, what's that coming over the horizon? Oh, it's the next plot point. If we sit here long enough, we'll figure out what it is.
Well, like the first time we see the river, my note, I immediately wrote down, whatever you do, don't fall into the plot device, because it's like the way they say it. Like, it's his dad saying, always be careful of the river. It's like, oh, God, he's going to fall into the river. Well, sure enough, he falls into the... Yeah. And then later it's like, oh, we got to make our mark, son. And I'm like, oh, is this going to be the major point of the... Oh, look, it is.
It's like, okay, Moana, you have to take your rock up to the top of the hill.
Oh, everything was so clumsy and heavy-handed. Right? It just was, I don't know. The dad, also some of the acting, poor Frances McDermott, I would never have known it was her. She's nothing to do.
No.
And then there's parts where she's supposed to be made out to be all poor and pitiful and put upon, because she has to do all the work because suddenly the brother and sister have disappeared for reasons we don't know. Wow. That's okay, they'll show up later. But for right now, when all the work needs to be done and Arlo's too little to do it, only mom can do it, because... I guess are the kids named Stuff and Reasons? Maybe that's why.
It's Libby and
Buck.
Buck, that was it.
But I think in Dinosaur that translates to Stuff and Reasons.
And to be fair, come on, Buck at least has a personality. He's sort of the bullying big brother. Libby is there.
Yeah. She was there. You know, I noticed she was also in focus.
Yeah, she was in focus. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I mean, there are one or two moments when we meet the pet collector, that weird dinosaur who has all these animals hanging on his...
What was with that scene?
I don't know, but there's one funny line I liked. Because he's got all of these harmless, like, birds and furry mammals, and he says, they protect me. You know, this one protects me from fire. This one protects me from unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
That made me smile. But the scene as a whole is like, why is this here? It's like, oh, look, dinosaurs got mental problems. Okay.
Yeah, literally, Arlo's walking along, and he sees this dinosaur, or this dinosaur's talking. Oh, you know, we wondered when you'd get here, blah, blah, blah. And then he steps out, and it's a Triceratops-ish like thing. I'm sure it's not a Triceratops, and somebody will tell me, go ahead and write us. Well, we didn't do business. They know. Will tell me that it's not a Triceratops, but on every point on his little head thing, crown, whatever, is a different animal, and they all represent his neuroses. Yeah. But literally, there's this moment, they have his little stand-up gig. It's like the next person in the open mic, right? You have 5 minutes till the red light turns on. So the red light turns on, and the dinosaur then just melts back into the woods, and we never see or hear from it again.
He has one function. He's the reason that Arlo names the human.
Right. Okay.
Because he says, and I name him, I keep him. And they start competing for a name that the human will respond to. So apparently this kid's name actually was Spot.
I guess.
Or either that or he just liked the sound of it. I don't know.
And of course, that's funny because it's what you'd call a dog that don't exist yet.
Yes.
Because would be funny.
I haven't seen we don't see anything that looks like a canine, although apparently they must exist because the humans communicate by howling like wolves.
Which I didn't mind so much because I could see that it was being a primitive method of communication. And it was nice, you know, okay, I get the howl thing. It also tried to give us a cry moment. Didn't work, but it tried. It was one of two scenes that I was just like, why is this here? The other one was, as you pointed out, the drug trip berries. There was literally a scene, they'd eaten berries. That's what the dinosaur likes to eat them. He's never had them before. Now they're delicious. Well, they come across some that are on the ground. And as is possible, maybe they were on the ground, they fell, they fermented, they eat them. Should I make a disclosure here, Max? Or I wonder if I should.
No, that's okay.
But there's this moment where they literally just start morphing and warping everything.
They hallucinate. They basically start tripping on fermented apricots.
And then they pass out, and they wake up, and the movie continues on its merry way.
And I kept waiting, because they wake up, and they're obviously hungover.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for, like, Arlo to look over at Spot and go, I went home with you last night?
And then it's followed by literally a, dude, don't watch me pee joke.
Yeah. And like, we will never speak of this again.
And it's Spot. He's looking at Spot like, what's Spot doing? Yeah, of course the dinosaurs I never thought to pee before. And the look on Spot's face is unequivocally a mature, sentient expression.
Yeah.
It's literally, dude, don't watch me pee.
Yeah, because does any animal give a damn if you watch it pee?
No. I mean, I honestly, the way that Spot was acting and what he was barely wearing, I honestly just expected him at some point in the middle of the movie to just take a dump. It's like, well, it's time. That's what we do. So there you go.
Yeah, and if he's an animal, why does he have a diaper?
The last thing is parent. I don't know. It's for our benefit, obviously.
Yeah, and the humans that we see actually wear clothing.
It's fine. He didn't. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I do have some talking points because it might seem that Max and I hate this movie and we're just going to sit here bashing it, which is possible.
Yeah.
But not necessarily true, but possible. So the main, I guess, crux of this film is that Arlo is born the smallest, the weakest, because we've never seen this crap before. And he's afraid of everything for, again, his sister and brother stuff and reasons. So I guess the only villain in this film, if you want to call it that, because they have opportunities, they just choose not to use them for villains. The only villain's really Arlo's fear. Would you say that's close?
No, I think there is an antagonist. That's Thunderclap.
Sort of.
He is. He's the bad guy and he does reoccur. Although I think I could see your point. He's not so much a villain in that he has like an evil plan. He is simply a threat.
Right.
He's not really that much different than the storm or an avalanche or anything else. He's more of a natural disaster. But yeah, he is. And he is a very unpleasant bad guy, because this is one of the first you really see in these that kill.
Oh, do we? Because, there's killing in this film, not least of which the decapitation that appears on screen, where they rip the head off a bug.
Yeah.
I was like, did I just see what I thought? Okay.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite lines in the film, when one of the T-Rexes is telling a story about how it got a scar, and that last line of the story is, and I drowned that croc in my own blood. I'm like,
wow.
What? I think I just
a family picture.
God. But anyway, to me, the crux of the film, again, if there is a villain, there isn't a villain. But if you want to say there's a villain, it's having Arlo getting over his own fear. And I think that that's not a bad idea. I think it could work. But how could you make it work better?
It is kind of pat. It's just he faces his fear of the storm and the river. Yeah. I don't know. We've seen this so many times.
Right.
It's been done so often. The idea, your main enemy is your own fear.
Yeah.
And we have nothing
to fear but fear itself.
Yeah. Sam Waterson, the Sam Waterson T-Rex, tells him, you can't escape fear. It's like Mother Nature. You just gotta get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
But I guess, it's through the power of love he finds the true meaning of Christmas.
Well, some of that is it because, he faces some of it because Spot is in danger and he intentionally goes into danger to save him.
Yeah.
And, that's it. That's, I suppose, impressive. The problem is there are several points that are supposed to clearly be the cry points, the moving points, where Arlo is talking about how he misses his father, and when he releases Spot into the wild, or basically makes him go
fly and be free.
Go on, Harry, we hate you, and throws rocks at him or something, like Harry and the Hendersons. But I didn't tear up at those. I did not find those particularly. They were kind of touching.
Yeah,
but Pixar can make you cry. They really can. We've seen that in a number of these movies.
You might even say most of these
movies, but this just didn't. Why not? I'm not entirely sure.
I came close when he and Arlo hugged, just because it's nice, and I like nice. I'm a sucker for nice.
There's some sweet moments, but
it felt very contrived.
That's, I think, a lot of it is it's like, you like these characters now. You find their bond convincing, right? And it was lazy. And that is something Pixar never does. I have never thought of them before. Even with the Cars movies, I've never said this is lazy.
Well, and this goes back to the telegraphing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right from the very beginning. Again, it's just this little thing. It's like, be careful, the river, son. Which, of course, also ends up being the way you can find your way home, is because you follow the river. Forget the bird, follow the river. And it's like, as soon as the way they say it, the fact that they point it out and make the tiniest little thing, the way they say that line and put it in there and show the river tells us there's going to be a problem with the river. And it just becomes no surprise. And it's like, it's lazy. It is very lazy. And then the fact that they're referencing their own films. I'm sure they do this a lot, and I'm sure if you look at Disney theorists, which sounds a lot like ancient astronaut theorists, Disney theorists will tell you, oh yes, they reused this animation in this film, they reused this. But this is the first time I just, without even thinking, blatantly go, that's from Lion King. It's the same shot, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Which also, one of the problems with laziness in storytelling is we have a real issue, or I had a real issue, with the emotional impact of Arlo and Spot. Because Arlo is potentially justifiably pissed at Spot when he finally meets him, because it's like, it's your fault that my father died. And the way they get over that is they just pretend it didn't happen later in the film and they're friends.
Well, no, he says he comes to terms with it wasn't your fault, Spot. It was my fault. He was using Spot as a scapegoat for his own self-blame.
Which, of course, isn't true either.
Yeah, neither of that was true. His father was actually fairly reckless and just decided I'm going to basically... It was a little too much like the dad who was like upset because his son won't shoot the deer, so he's going to drag him out and make him shoot the damn deer. Because what Arlo's dead, the reason he meets Spot is eating their food in the silo, and it's Arlo's job to catch him and kill him.
Yeah.
Because he's not referred to as, he's referred to as a critter.
Kill and kill. What is kill? Let me show you.
Yeah, pretty much. Here,
Same way,
taste.
too.
Yes.
Which one do you think?
Bonk on the head.
Well, which one do you think grows up to become Vol? That's a deeper E.
Deep cut, yeah.
One of the T-Rexes.
Yeah. Which is another thing.
Dear gods, that actually works. Because now there's humans and dinosaurs. Vol is the last dinosaur. They just cut its head off and they worship it and it makes the planet be nice. Okay, sorry.
You're so fired.
Okay, Bumpy, get ready in the corner.
Yeah. Ugh.
Sorry.
And the other thing is the characters. The characterizations are also lazy. Every character is a stereotype. It's like, okay, you got Thunderclap. I thought it was going to start off interesting. It's like, oh, wow, these guys, he's a religious fanatic. He believes in the power of the storm.
Yeah.
No, he's just crazy. He's just nuts and has used this to hold together some followers and just goes around doing what he is supposed to do. He is a predator. So, yes, he kills and eats things.
Right.
And this is also the one vaguely original, although it's been done before, part of this movie is the T-Rexes are not the bad guys.
No.
Because T-Rexes are always the bad guys in the movie, except for a few.
Like Toy Story.
Toy Story, Theodore Rex, never mind. A couple of others. We're back. They're, because they are, at least the way we picture them, because let's face it, we don't really know what they looked like. They're scary-ass bastards.
Well, and they gave that main one the big scar. Like, it's obvious that he got into a fight with something that tried to bite his face off, which in this case he said it was a croc. Okay. But they meet the T-Rexes, and quite honestly, it's Meals on Wheels, right? Because the food came to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we got to find our buffalo. We haven't got time to eat you guys. And it's like, you have plenty of time to eat those guys.
Yeah, seriously, and Arlo is a lot easier to catch than one of those bison.
Yeah. Although apparently the bison are easier to herd, but whatever.
Yeah, apparently, by the way, it's really interesting what develops intelligence and what doesn't in this world.
Yeah. Well, also at that point, we've gone away from ostensibly a buddy travel, gotta get home film. Now we're in a Western.
Yeah.
Like,
and
literally
honestly,
a Western.
If this movie had been about Sam Waterston and his crew, this would have been a more interesting movie. Because I think those guys are fun.
They're fine. They're more interesting than Arlo and his parents. In fact, final note for this was, and then Arlo lived a boring life selling glue door to door. The end. Because you get the impression at the end of this film that, and nothing happened to him that's worth writing. Like, that's it. We're done. I liked Sam Waterston.
Waterston, yes.
I like
Sam Elliott, excuse me.
Sam Elliott.
Different actor.
I like Sam Elliott's voice a lot better than whoever was Dad Dinosaur. Dad Dinosaur, to me, felt overplayed. Like, just, his voice did not work at all.
It was a bit much.
But
just too paternalistic, But Sam Waterston, first of all... Sam Elliott. I don't know why I'm doing that.
I don't either.
But Sam Elliott, first of all, why doesn't Arlo want to stay with them? I mean, come on, be a cowboy. That's awesome.
Hey, I'm a cowboy. Howdy. Another deeper.
Yeah, and his faithful human companion, Tonto. I mean, Spot.
Well,
it
could
have worked.
We were talking about emotion. Let's talk about that, if you don't mind, for a second. So, at one point, they're howling, and Arlo and Spot teaches Arlo to howl, and that shows family, and that's nice, right? It's nice. I didn't cry, but it was nice. But then something else answers that call, and at first I thought, oh God, it's wolves. The wolves are going to come in. No, it's another human. And Spot's like, oh, what's that? In a scene, it's a kind of like right out of Bambi, when Bambi first, girl? Because this is an old guy, so it's not the same thing. But the other human is this older man, and he sees Spot, and Spot sees him, and they're like, hey, we're alike. We should get together. And they sort of slowly come close to each other and stuff. And then Arlo is like, no, we've got to go, because he realizes he can't get out of there without Spot. How did you feel about Arlo at that point?
At that moment, I actually kind of liked it because Arlo's selfishness made sense. And he's being very selfish.
Yes.
But first of all, he's a child. And second of all, he's alone and he's terrified. So, of course, he's going to hold on to the one companion he's got, the one person the one thing that he thinks he can trust. It's like, not wanting your dog to run off with a wild pack.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually started to be a character moment. And then it...
I think I see where you're going with this.
Yes. And then it doesn't.
No. Well, for me, I was left hanging. Like, I don't know that I like Arlo right now. I mean, I get it, but I don't know that I like him. But they literally just stopped talking about that whole possibility. We don't see anything from Spot. Like, there's no scenes of Spot really going, well, I really wish I'd gone off with those people.
Yeah, there's no sense of regret. We don't see him, like, even looking back, except after that one shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, that started to be something. It could have been... maybe Spot resents Arlo now, or maybe he starts to wonder and they have to deal with this. Nope.
No.
It's gone. It could have been a good character building moment, and they just leave it lying on the forest floor.
Well, and then at the end, it turns out that the humans have decided that this is far more interesting than, hunting or gathering or otherwise surviving. No, we should follow that stray kid with the dinosaur, because that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, because it does appear that it's at least the same male human.
Yeah, so he brought his family with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically what happens is it's right on the cusp of Arlo being home. So it's like, oh, look, home is literally right over there. I can make the rest of the way myself. Oh, here's that other human family conveniently on time. I can let you go now. And it's like you're supposed to feel, I think, that Arlo has not only grown, but now he is giving his friend the favor of leaving and going to be with his own kind.
He's putting Spot's welfare above his own,
and
or his feelings.
My question was, does this redeem his earlier action? To me, it's like, no, because, it's convenient for me to do this now. I'm not losing anything by letting you go. Yeah, we were friends, but, apparently
it's
that wasn't
supposed to redeem it. I don't think it does. Because, yeah, exactly. As you say, wow, well, we're fine now. There's my house.
Yeah.
But it's still, I'm giving up my beloved pet. There's a certain yearling quality about this.
Yeah, kid with the big eyes. And then he says something about Shane, mother wants you.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I actually did like the way he convinces Spot, where he draws the circle around Spot and the other humans to symbolize this is your family now.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm also thinking, Spot would probably live a lot longer if he was protected by an entire pack of enormous dinosaurs who grew food for him, because I'm guessing the humans have not gotten beyond hunter-gatherer.
Probably not. And also the other thing is that the humans don't really show any fear of the dinosaurs, which they should, even though it's an Apatosaurus. Yeah, I know they don't eat meat, but, I'm willing to bet they haven't got that far.
Yeah, it's like, here's a life form that's 10 times our size, and we're just like, hey, how you doing?
Well, and the humans, like Spot and the older man human, the dad, let's call him Dad for want of a better character name, because he hasn't got one. Spot and Dad don't approach each other like an inch at a time and then draw back. They're just like, hey, you're new, I don't know you, let me smell you. You smell familiar. Like, they're interested and curious, they're not afraid. So my other thought was, well, they obviously wander. Why don't they just come home with Arlo? Why don't they live there? You guys could live together. There's mutually beneficial reasons for you guys to live next to each other.
Yeah, they got thumbs. They could help you build things eventually.
And all the dinosaurs could have clothes.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, lazy storytelling that you shouldn't think too much about it.
Yeah. And one other thing I had a problem with at the very end. Arlo gets home and they have him, it's a big thing when you accomplish something big for the family, you get to make your mark. You put a footprint on the grain silo or the corn silo, whatever that was.
Yeah, which we didn't see coming.
Yeah, we see that coming. He puts his mark. What the hell did he do?
He
What did
didn't die.
Yeah, he got lost and came home.
Yeah, and there's that scene of mom all like pulling up lame in the. I mean, it's like it's pretty much Christina's world, right? Except with corn. Sorry, that's another deeper.
Wow, an Andrew Wyeth cut right there.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that you got it. And it's like I'm still like, where are the brother and sister? It's like,
they're there. They did show up. They come over for the group,
but they're fine.
Hug, yeah.
It's like, what? Oh, poor mom. Woe is me. Woe, I can't lift another cob. Fall, whimper. And then Arlo, who, honestly, the only thing he could do was feed the chickens, and he wasn't actually good at that. Why do they have chickens?
That was my question. They don't eat them. They're clearly herbivores. Why do they keep whatever the hell those things, mega chickens or super chickens?
Because farms have chickens. I don't.
Guess.
Maybe do they milk them? I don't.
Maybe they like the eggs. I'm not.
Don't know.
Yeah.
It was. It was. I didn't know what to expect because as I said, all I knew was dinosaur, and I was like, I guess that's a time period that most kids go through. It's the space period and then the dinosaur period. I didn't do the dinosaur period. Did you?
I was really into dinosaurs. I had really cool dinosaur. Little plastic dinosaurs, and I used to love going to there was a museum nearby that had like dinosaur skeletons.
Oh, the Science Museum?
No, it was actually the Peabody Museum. Well, the Science Museum too, but the Peabody had like actual fossils and big skeletons and really cool stuff.
I was always afraid by the the plesiosaur because it was in the corner.
It was huge.
But the one that was hanging from the ceiling always freaked me out. It's like, that's going to swoop down and eat me.
Oh, I loved those things. I never got tired of that place. I had a real dinosaur phase.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Maybe because I was too busy with Star Trek. I don't know.
Maybe.
But maybe that's why they made this. But it also seems to me that it's like the Land Before Time. That's the dinosaur film. The Land Before Time series, of which I think there's, 11? I mean,
I don't know, 30, 40, I'm not sure.
Fievel Goes Dinosaur.
Littlefoot meets Optimus Prime. I'm not sure.
In a battle in a steel cage. I think that, like, to me, it's like, yeah, we've done the dinosaur thing. We don't need any more dinosaurs. We did that. It's a thing. We're done. It's gone.
I think they could still do something. And again, this could have been interesting. You know what? Well, I'll wait for the wrap up.
Yeah. But it's like, I was looking for the challenge, right? What is the challenge of this Pixar film? And apparently it was to sit through it. Because we talk about that. We talk about the supposed crying points. And that was the problem, is usually the crying points come because you feel something for what is happening on the screen. In this case, I was like, I looked down at my watch. It's like, it's quarter to crying, and now.
Yeah, it's like you could say, okay, now we've included a pack of essence of onion in this DVD. We need you to crack it open under your eyes now.
Wait. You got to watch this in Odorama?
Oh, yeah, didn't you?
No! I didn't get the John Waters version. Oh, well. Boy, there's a lot of deepers this week. Sorry, folks. It just felt like you're supposed to cry, audience. Here it's literally, there was no effort to couch it in plot development or character development. It's just, well, they're partying now. Well, they're partying now, but he could say, nope, they're partying, cry.
That's the other thing. It's like they're partying, they're never going to see each other. Wait, why aren't they live next door?
Yeah.
The humans are right over there. Why couldn't
world.
Spotlight come down in the valley and say hi? It's not like they have a fence.
Well, you know why.
Why?
Because down in the valley there's a jolly green giant.
Actually, there's 4. That's true.
Yeah.
He could grow up to be Sprout.
Yeah, this is a terrible. If you folks weren't born in the 60s or 70s, we apologize.
Sorry.
This week is, although Andrew Wyeth was a real reach. That's a reach. I don't know. It's another film where you literally can't ask questions. And the sad thing is that there are other things worth looking at on the screen, like the scenery. I sat there going, wow, they do wheat really well. That should not be a thought while you're watching a movie, right? Like, the wheat in this film is fantastic.
The plant life should not be the most impressive part of a movie.
Or the water.
Yeah. Unless they're the ones that are talking.
Okay, talking water. Let's go with that. But I think that I've gone through my talking points and my notes. How about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, now for the big reveal. I know we've said that, but... The roundup. Max!
Yeah?
I beat you to it. Haha. What did you think? Oh, actually, let me go and... I asked this before, but, did you see the preview for this, or do you remember seeing the preview for this?
I don't remember. I saw it. I have no memory of it.
Okay, so you didn't have a pre-Pixar opinion of the film?
No, nope. I was like, okay, Pixar. Maybe they're going to... I don't remember. I think this came out before Inside Out. So I'm like, well, this is Pixar. Maybe this will be... I bet this will be cool.
Nope, it came out after.
Oh, it did. Then I must have had really high... It's like, wow, Inside Out, which is one of my favorite Pixar movies. Like, oh, wow, what are they going to do now with these dinosaurs? That's going to be so cool. And I was wrong. Because, wow. And I got to say, I would be really interested if our listeners will tell us, did anybody see this?
Yeah.
Because this is the second lowest grossing Pixar movie. I'm betting a lot of people skip this largely because why wouldn't you see, Inside Out instead? It's like, wow, that raised the bar.
Yeah, and it was June and November. Those are so you said this was the same and two in the same year.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, my partner was wandering in and out doing various things, and at one point he was sat down on the couch and I think he was texting or something. And he's like, what are you watching? And I told him, he's like, this is a Pixar film? Coming in the middle, just looking at it and hearing some of the dialogue, he didn't believe it was a Pixar film.
Yeah, for a Pixar movie, the animation is great. The character design is not. We talked about that. And the script is weak, which is unusual for a Pixar movie. Even the less good ones, a lot of them have... There are still good points in the scripts. Monsters University is not great. There are some funny jokes.
Yeah.
There are some nice speeches. There is some believable talking. Everything in this is cliche.
I mean, even when it's cliche for Disney films, it's like, oh, it's the Mufasa dying scene. I mean, I was... It's like, if you're going to reference something, I mean, go back to, I don't know, Oswald. Because nobody knows who he is, right? So, but it was such a key scene from Lion King and such a big moment of that film that people remember, and then you're doing the same thing. It's literally the same thing, but with dinosaurs. That's it. Maybe that's what they should have said. The tagline of this film, the Good Dinosaur, that film you love, but now with dinosaurs. That's what it's...
It's not identical because the father isn't actively murdered by someone.
No.
But it's true that the kid is up on a higher level and he watches his father die and blames himself for it.
Yeah.
It's
sure.
And again, this movie just makes me... it raises a lot of questions because there's nothing else to focus on.
Yeah.
I sit there going, why... Okay, if Spot is human, why is he running around on all fours?
Yeah.
He's not built for it. His arms aren't long enough. I shouldn't be paying attention to that. That shouldn't be an issue. And I'm going, why are there birds? There are birds. Dinosaurs are allegedly evolved into birds. Now, okay, you can say the idea, if humans evolved from primates, why are there still chimps? Okay.
Well,
why? Yeah.
There have been digs that have found feathers or feather-like appendages in fossils of the era. So it's even that one of the theories is right now that their dinosaurs, instead of being just skinned, they may actually some of them may have been feathered. But we still don't know why they keep them on the farm, because they don't eat them.
Yeah. And why do they need a house? Dinosaurs... okay, like I said at the beginning, you want to argue that they didn't change physically because they were already basically at peak evolution, that these guys were the most physically dominant life forms, so they didn't need to evolve? Okay, why do they need houses? They're supposed to be tough enough to take the elements.
I didn't... That part didn't bother me. There was enough of other stuff. You've called me on taking things a little too far. I'll say, that's debatable. I don't disagree with your point. I just think it's like, Yeah,
that's fair.
But it is a reasonable complaint. I just don't know if that just didn't bother me as much.
It shouldn't be a thing. I shouldn't even have had to think about that. And the sad thing is, they had so many opportunities here because the idea of what if dinosaurs had evolved into something, that could bring up so much stuff. And the saddest part is the next year, we see a variation of this, of what if animals had evolved to sentience. We see this in Zootopia, which is a great example of, look at how the world is different. Look at the way the technology is shaped, the way the architecture, the way the world is shaped to fit all these different species. And here, there's nothing. There's no dinosaur society. All the dinosaurs we meet are packs.
Yeah.
Everyone is clearly just a single pack over millions of years, over what was probably close to 60 million years. Really? Why?
Yeah. It's, again, you can't ask questions. The film
You
simply
shouldn't
is
have
not,
to.
No, the film is just simply not prepared to answer them.
But they didn't distract you enough with an interesting story, better dialogue, or better characters. If you have that, it's like we make fun of the world of Cars and such, and Toy Story. We're going, well, the rules seem a little funny, but we don't care because the characters are wonderful and the dialogue is wonderful. And here I'd like to use this to segue into just Pixar in general. This is one of the great strengths of Pixar, is they don't usually just coast on the skill of their animation. They have things like great scripts. They get great voice performances. And the voice performances in this were okay. There was not, I mean, Sam Elliott's terrific. By the way, Anna Paquin as, what was her name? Ramsey as one of the other T-Rexes. She's good. Butch, he was fine. The T-Rexes, the voice acting is great. The hillbilly raptors was sort of like, well, that's really cliche and boring. And most of the others just aren't that interesting. It's not that they're incompetent or that they do a bad job. They're just not interesting.
I don't even know if I can blame them as much as I can blame the script and the director. Yeah. Because the script is just, there's nothing new here at all. We've seen this, the runt of the litter is the one that has to prove itself. Okay, whatever. Oh no, I'm on a journey, I have to get back home. Okay, yeah, whatever. Oh, my dad died and it's my fault, except it's really not, but I'm going to feel bad about it. Yeah, and I'm real sad. So I maybe the voice acting would be better in other circumstances. I don't know. Again, the father was the only one to me that's just like, he's really overdoing it. Like, I don't even know if that's his real accent, but it felt like he was really pushing it. And just, I don't know, just didn't buy it. But the rest of them, it's like, I didn't care one way or the other. There's other films too, like you said, in the one of these days we'll be able to pronounce that word, of Pixar that are not great films. Onward, I would say their most recent, is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
There is nothing challenging about it. Max and I like it because, of course, one of the central points of the film is how D&D can in fact save your life, because it can.
Yep.
And, they have a little fun with the, what if these critters were actually real instead of just... And, it is funny seeing the unicorns going at your trash cans.
Again, there were a lot of missed opportunities. They had some fun with it, but they could have done so much more.
Like, Onward is a film... I've watched it a couple of times. It's fine. It's like if I want something that's nice in the background, it's fine. I kind of also bond because Max was the guy who showed me D&D, so I have a sort of affinity that way for it. It's fine. There's other films that even Disney films I didn't like initially, like Moana. When I first saw it, didn't like it. As I've watched it more and more, I've liked it more and more. The Toy Story sequels, I don't dislike any of them. I wish there hadn't been a 4, but I don't think it was a bad movie. Certainly Finding Nemo was a good film. Finding Dory happened.
Finding Dory was another... It was fine. It was just okay.
I don't need this. Cars 3 I haven't seen. Don't want to see it. Didn't want to see a Cars film. Whatever. Brave we talked about.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good things, and as we also pointed out, when you set your own bar that high, when you fall, and I actually might think, at least of the films I've seen, that this is the worst Pixar film. Because of that bar.
Yeah.
Because we know they're capable of so much better.
Yeah, if this had come out from Sony or Illumination,
we
would have gone, hey, this is not bad. This is okay.
In fact, I think I remember seeing the teaser or the preview and missing the Pixar part and saying, oh, Illumination's doing a new movie. And it's like, oh, wait, that's Pixar? Really? So just like my partner said, it's just like I expect better out of them. And the good thing is that we'll get better out of them. Admittedly, in the midst of all of the annoying sequels, we get Coco, which showed up 2 years later. So they show that they can still do good films. And at least Onward was an original film, too.
And an original idea. It was a cool idea. And now, next month, we're going to get Soul.
Which I have hopes for.
I do, because never mind that sounds like the voice cast is really cool. The idea, they're tackling the afterlife.
And Pixar is proving that black people actually exist.
Yes, they do. How about that?
Yeah, because... So I have hopes for Soul. We'll see. There's another film coming out supposedly next year sometime called Luca, which I think looks more like Pixar's love letter to the Japanese film... Miyazaki, that kind of Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli.
All right. I thought Luca lived on the second floor.
He lives just upstairs from me.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen him before. Oh God, now we're doing Suzanne Vega cuts. Jeez.
Hey, well, I think we've summed up is that there's a lot that Pixar has to offer.
They've done a lot of things right, but when they do it,
doesn't stumble.
Yeah.
Actually, we forgot to mention Ratatouille.
Oh,
I really like Ratatouille. That was Ratatouille.
Ratatouille, fresh and fruity.
And patootie. Yep. I really like Ratatouille. If for nothing else, it actually has a villain that gets redeemed. He makes a big character. There was character development into a villain in an animated film. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's also just gorgeous to look at. But yeah, so when they stumble, and they don't stumble often, they tend to stumble into meh, which for a lot of studios, meh is pretty good.
For a lot of studios, meh is the best they get.
But here, it's just like, we know you can do better.
Yeah, this is one of those times where you feel like the teacher talking to the student. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Pixar goes stand in the corner.
And, Pixar starts crying.
So I guess what we're saying is if you didn't see The Good Dinosaur, good for you.
Yeah, you haven't missed much.
No.
And you should, and that's, I think, one of the only Pixar, well, no, Cars 2, but one of the few Pixar movies I would say that about. This is a Pixar movie you don't need to see.
No.
And Pixar in general, we salute you. We love you guys. You guys are, it's an amazing studio. They have, I don't think any studio since Disney itself advanced in animation the way they have.
No. So you don't need to see this. Instead, if you were thinking of going to see this, take yourself out to Rogue Warfare 3.
Yeah, that definitely that may still be in theaters, so catch it along with COVID, I guess, by going to a movie theater. No, seriously, don't go to movie theaters, really,
and don't go to Rogue Warfare.
Don't
3. I can't even say it.
We are gonna, we're gonna have to do a series on the entire genre of Rogue Warfare at some point.
There's only 3 of them.
Well, I'm sure we could do 2 episodes each.
Well, speaking of doing new series, because we're at the end of Pixar, and basically we said, hey, they did some great stuff, they did some mess stuff, they did a couple of things. So, but where are we going next week, Max? Take me on a trip.
This time we're going deep into the heart.
Of Texas?
Sure, because the stars at night are big and bright there. But no, we are going to explore a classic film genre, the romantic comedy.
I like you as a friend, Max.
That's fine.
We're not watching
talk
together.
About this later. But we're going to. The rom-com is an unusual genre. It's remarkably persistent. There have been times when it seemed like it was going to just literally die off.
Remarkably persistent.
Yeah.
You don't like that skin rash.
Yes, no matter how many creams you apply, romantic comedies keep coming back.
Try a tincture.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about them, the old ones, the screwball ones, the newer ones, the ones that almost killed the genre completely, and some of the ones that helped revive it. And we're going to start off next week with a classic, an Oscar winner,
Bugs Bunny.
Yep, back from the days of when they had only invented the colors black, white, and gray. No other colors existed in the world.
That's cheery.
Yep, we're going to see It Happened One Night.
Oh, what happened one night?
It did.
What's it?
Well, the thing that happened one night. Third base. Anyway.
And also, real quick, this series upcoming was suggested by one of our listeners. And if you have other suggestions like that, because you can do that, you can suggest things to us.
You
we
can.
May suggest things back. You can email us at MaxMikeMovies, plus all that other stuff we usually go through, because you all know it by now.
Yeah. Website, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. Like us, smash us, subscribe us.
But next week, I'll be giving Max an enormous kiss. Mwah! Good night, everybody.
This has been a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.
I'm recording too.
Yeah.
Oh, got that out of the way.
Oh dear. And
3, 2, 1. Fingers, this time we nailed the clap. I'll be fine, I promise.
All right. Let's try that again.
Wait, what?
3, 2, 1.